This week we've got coverage for you on hurricane relief efforts from local firefighters who traveled to Texas.
Also, the DACA repeal has left the country in dispute. Reina Garcia has the report on a K-State rally that took place on September 6th in reaction to this government decision.
And we take a look at K-State's new policy that allows conceal and carry on campus. Find out the impact of this policy change.
Also, Monday was the anniversary of 9/11. See how those who lost their lives on that day were honored in Manhattan. All coming up next on today's show.
In the shade, and I think you should too. I'll get you more weather coming up later.
This is KKSU-LD, covering Manhattan, Riley County, and the Flint Hills, broadcasting in high definition from Kansas State University. You're watching Channel 8 News.
Welcome to a brand new school year and the first edition of Channel 8 News. I'm Caitlin Sabert.
And I'm Adam Condry. Tune in every Thursday morning from 10:30 to 11 for your weekly news on the Manhattan and K-State communities.
You can also like us on Facebook.
And follow us on Twitter at KSU Channel 8 News for updates.
First, our developing story, a series of white nationalist posters were taped to various light posts around the K-State campus during the early morning hours on Wednesday. The posters targeted various minorities, with one poster claiming that diversity means less white people. With the recent rise of the alt-right movement across the country, including a protest that turned deadly in Charlottesville, Virginia, K-State's administration has been on the defense, issuing a statement that said, quote, "The messages posted on Wednesday do not reflect the values of Kansas State University." While the posters do not represent the values of the university honored their code of free speech, which states, quote, "It is not the proper role of the university to attempt to shield individuals from ideas and opinions they find unwelcome, disagreeable, or even deeply offensive." However, the posters were not on official bulletin boards. According to K-State's free speech policy, quote, "The freedom to debate and discuss the merits of competing ideas does not mean that individuals may say whatever they wish, whenever they wish." The statement released by the university on Wednesday said that posters not on official bulletin boards must be approved by the Division of Facilities. In accordance to the free speech policy, the university cannot take a stance on the matter. However, the students' leaders have made a stand. Student body president Jack Ayers tweeted an announcement on SGA organized rally to be held Thursday at 8:30 p.m. at Bosco Plaza. If you have comments on the matter, feel free to post them on our social media platforms.
Monday was the 16th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks on the World Trade Center in New York City and the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. To commemorate 9/11, members of the K-State Student Union Program Council placed 2,996 flags throughout the quad on campus to honor each of those who lost their lives during the attacks. Early Monday morning, the American flag at the World War II Memorial on campus was lowered to half-staff. Many of the students at Kansas State are too young to remember the attacks, so the field of flags serves as a somber reminder.
I do remember when I was young when it happened and stuff, and I was wondering, because I checked Twitter to see if there was anything about it on Twitter, and I didn't really see much. And then I saw on campus that they had all these flags out to memorialize it, and I thought that was pretty good of them to do. Just remind all the students on the way to class, what day it is,
Many of those who lost their lives on 9/11 were first responders.
And speaking of first responders, many are still active in hurricane-affected Texas. Just recently, the Manhattan Fire Department was sent on a trip by the state of Kansas to help the victims of Hurricane Harvey. The department offered their Type 3 Swift water team as an asset. Channel 8 reporter Brandon Fayback has more.
On August 24th, all was quiet in the Manhattan Fire Department. Work boots were on the floor, jackets were hung, and helmets stowed above. A few days later, the Manhattan Fire Department was asked by the Kansas State Fire Marshal Service to help out with the victims of the 130-mile-per-hour winds that Hurricane Harvey brought to the greater Houston area. The floodwaters were up to knees, but the group still traveled as an asset with their Type 3 Swift water team. Deputy Chief Ryan Alms says the fire department is eager to help the area.
Well, at the fire department, a big part of what we do, our mission, is to help people. And so when the call came in that there was a need down in Houston, if we had the resources available to help us still at home and take care of the home front, we knew that it was the right thing to do to send people.
Now, 2 million people were stuck in nearly 30 inches of rainfall over the period of time that Hurricane Harvey hit. Now, when Manhattan Fire Department got the call to help out those in need, they grabbed their life vests, put on their helmets, and headed to the Lone Star State to help out their friends in need.
Captain Drew Taylor of the Manhattan Fire Department said Buffalo Bayou, a slow-moving river through Houston, was a tough place to see.
So the mission that we were assigned was to go into an area called Buffalo Bayou, and we were told to tell people that the power was probably going to be shut off to the area, and that if they would like to evacuate at this point, that they should come with us.
The Manhattan Fire Department was very happy to know that their members of the community in Houston were safe and that they were able to help in any way possible. From Manhattan, Kansas, I'm Brandon Fayback, Channel 8 News.
The Manhattan Fire Department was in Houston for over 5 days to help victims. Hurricane Harvey has been predicted to be a $3 billion rebuild on insured losses. Later in weather, we'll touch on the forecast for other hurricane paths.
The decision to rescind the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, also known as DACA, hit home for some K-State students. The DACA program granted those who were brought to the United States as children authorization to reside in the U.S. for 2 years. These immigrants, called Dreamers, could now possibly face deportation. Channel 8 reporter Reina Garcia has more on the story.
Marlene Campos is pursuing a degree in microbiology, hoping to one day create vaccines for infectious diseases. Under DACA, she had been given the opportunity to achieve that goal.
I came to this country when I was only 2 years old. We came because my dad and my mother were offered better opportunities here than we did in Mexico.
The futures of nearly 800,000 Dreamers now hang in the balance after President Trump rescinded the DACA program. For Marlene, the opportunities once available to her under DACA may no longer be possible.
It has allowed me to get some income back to my family, and it has allowed me to pursue a higher education that I know that without it I would not have.
After the end of the DACA program was announced Tuesday, students took to Bosco Plaza to show support for the program and dreamers like Marlene.
This is what America looks like!
With Congress having a 6-month window to pass legislation, students are working to get their voices heard in hopes of keeping the promises of DACA intact.
This is actually a very important subject for a lot of students here on campus and everywhere around the United States. It's affecting so many people, and we're just hoping that Congress will be able to come up with a better plan.
We have future teachers, future engineers, future, doctors who are right now worrying about, can they even work? Could they even finish their degree?
Although Marlene is uncertain of what's to come, she remains hopeful. In Manhattan, Reina Garcia, Channel 8 News.
The DACA program was enacted as an executive order by former President Barack Obama. The program was rescinded under the Trump administration, and now Congress will have 6 months to come up with new legislation to replace it.
And speaking of new legislation, a law that was passed in 2013 has officially been enacted here in Kansas, allowing concealed firearms on college campuses. Channel 8 reporter Bailey Brown has the story on how this came about and what this means for students at K-State.
Alex Bontrager, a sophomore in pre-med, feels as though she has yet to be affected by law changes that allow concealed firearms on campus, but is still unsure of what the future will hold in regards to her safety.
I personally haven't encountered anyone, I don't think, that has had a weapon, but I do think that as more and more people are carrying weapons, that there is a heightened chance of something happening.
When the law passed in 2013, K-State's administration formed committees to discuss what changes were to be made in Manhattan.
What our policy really provided was just definitions of what we mean by a handgun, what we mean by concealed. And so we're as specific as it has to be in a harness, that it cannot be exposed at any time, that it has to be on an empty chamber.
While the university is unable to place security at all buildings on campus, it has made sure that students understand what is and is not allowed. With the addition of this new law, stickers such as this have been added to all K-State buildings, and they strictly state that open carrying of firearms is prohibited inside the buildings.
It is very divisive. We have individuals who are supportive of that right, that constitutional right to carry guns with them, And we have individuals who are very fearful.
University faculty and security are continuing to work on learning how this law will affect students and educating the public to help keep campus a safe environment for all. In Manhattan, Kansas, Bailey Brown, Channel 8 News.
In addition to the changes on campus, K-State sport fans have seen new security measures in place at sporting events. Fans now must empty their pockets and pass through metal detectors at football, basketball, and baseball games. Despite increased wait times, some fans say it is a necessary approach to keep everyone safe. And for more on this story, we'll send it over to Natalie.
Now we have the privilege to talk with the Executive Associate Athletics Director of Internal Operations at K-State, Casey Scott. Thanks for joining us, Casey. Many fans I know were surprised when they showed up to the first game to see that these metal detectors had been installed at the stadium. Could you kind of explain like why these security measures were installed and just kind of the process of them?
Well, when the law, the exemption for universities expired on July 1, in order to prohibit weapons inside the facility, we were granted what's known as a temporary measure. Adequate security measures by law require metal detectors. So that was a choice we made as athletics for our football and men's and women's basketball games to install metal detectors and prohibit handguns from coming inside the stadium.
Okay. And then I know that the clear bag policy is still in effect at the stadium, and you actually brought some in for us today. Could you kind of explain maybe for fans what bags can and can't be brought in?
We put the clear bag policy into effect a year ago as part of step one of a two-step process leading up to metal detectors this year, because we knew that the law was going to go into effect and we needed to upgrade our security procedures. The clear bag is just a method to help our security staff with a consistent size bag and a clear bag so that our security can see what's inside the bag and more quickly get our fans through the gates.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Casey. Stay tuned because after the break, we have more on how Aggieville businesses in the community are affected by football season. Also, Everett Dennis, former director of the Journalism and Mass Communication School at K-State, revisited the campus to discuss the impacts of international media, all coming up next.
I know a spot that I love full well.
'Tis not in forest, nor yet in dell. Ever it holds me with magic spell.
I think of thee, alma mater.
We'll carry thy banner high. Long, long, may thy colors fly.
Loyal to thee, thy children will swell the cry. Hail, 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 alma mater.
Welcome back. Every fall as the school year begins, students start to file back into Manhattan. And along with those students comes business for local Aggieville restaurants, especially once football season begins. Our reporter Zach Radabaugh visited Aggieville to take us more in depth.
Each year, football fans get excited to watch and cheer on their favorite teams compete from their favorite sports bar in front of a big screen surrounded by their closest friends. With those fans comes a heavy amount of traffic for local Aggieville businesses, especially during Kansas State or Kansas City Chiefs football games.
We have a lot of sports fans that come out. We do have a lot of Chiefs fans, we have a lot of K-State fans that come out. It's a really great time, you know, anytime the fans come out, we do fill up and we do get away and it's awesome. It's a really good time. And there's a lot of people that do come for the game just because, you know, we have a lot of TVs, we have a lot of space, a lot of area to watch those games and really enjoy them. So we do have a lot of people come in for the games. And then the food, of course, they can kind of eat and drink while they watch, which is awesome and great fun. But yeah, we do see, you know, a ton of people down in Aggieville hanging out, and a lot of people are going and buying t-shirts and are going down and buying some hats and all that kind of stuff. So that's really fun. And then, you know, we love getting the business on those game days.
Not only are fans going to sports bars on game days, but local shops are getting extra business as well. Shops such as Rally House and Sisters of Sound get extra foot traffic on game days. This extra business isn't limited to the school semesters either. Loyal fans make it out to Aggieville during the summer as well.
Yeah, there's a huge difference between the summer and the school semester. School semester, we have people flat out more for happy hour, especially if there's going to be a game on. During the summer, we do get a lot of Royals fans as well that can kind of come in and hang out and know they're going to be not alone, but there's going to be a small amount of people within a community that know they're going to be rooting on the same team.
K-State is playing Vanderbilt this Saturday, so there will be likely a large amount of people in Aggieville during the game.
Students of the A.Q. Miller School of Journalism and Mass Communications got a visit from the Middle East last week, hearing from the Dean of Northwestern University in Qatar. Former JMC Director Everett Dennis shared his observations on the state of international media. Dennis spoke on the roles of global media in the digital age and how the media influences and shapes our everyday lives. Dennis says that this is a time in history unlike anything humanity has ever faced before. International digital communication is at its highest level, allowing access to information to anyone around the world, and Dennis says people now more than ever should be aware of the expanding scope of the media.
Oh, it's robust and exciting and incredibly well developed. It's unlike anything that's ever occurred in human history. The fact that so many peoples and countries and entities can talk to each other, communicate, interact, is extraordinary. And it's peaked in just recent years to incredible levels of penetration in the population.
Coming up after the break, Brady Budke has your weekend weather.
Stay tuned.
Outreach is more than a goal. It's our land-grant mission. We feed and sustain an expanding population and cultivate strong, stable families, growing responsibility and leadership in our youth through a far-reaching network of research, resources, and educators. Whether you're in Kansas or across the globe, every life is worthy of an extended hand. What makes K-State Research and Extension so powerful? Purpose, outreach, you.
What a coach, what a program. Oh, they give him the dunks. He gets number 200. Now he's going to throw far side. Jordy's got it against Khalid 40. Here comes Lockett. Look out. He can move. He was drilled by Reggie Walker. On the field, perfect throw. Pringle down the sideline. Touchdown.
Whoever said college is for kicking back never met our students. They're here for college beyond the classroom, for jumping off the bandwagon and into an environment that fosters career potential. Internships and opportunities that open doors and continue advancing through a global education. At Kansas State University, students become leaders who guide the K-State family into the future. What jumpstarts a career with limitless possibilities? Character, drive, you.
When college comes around, many students begin to search for an affordable place to live, but at times find their options limited due to cost and quality. According to the City of Manhattan, one of the standards is that housing must be structurally sound and affordable with modern amenities. One of the many off-campus living facilities is University Crossing. They are currently renovating their facilities to meet the housing standards within the guidelines of the City of Manhattan. University Crossing is in the process of updating their facilities and adding contemporary amenities for their residents. For Ashley Zane, the noise and inconvenience of the construction has had minimal effect as she begins another semester at K-State.
It hasn't affected me at all besides the parking from the construction equipment, but I'm aware that some residents around me are closer, so it might affect them, but it hasn't affected me at all.
Well, Adam, that thunderstorm last night, that kept me wide awake. The lightning came through my window. It was bright. I was awake the whole night.
You indeed stayed woke. See, I slept right through it, so the only clue that I had that we had a thunderstorm, I looked out the window, there was water, rain, whatnot, so yeah.
I wish I could sleep through that. Well, let's send it over to Brady Buckey for more on the weather.
Thank you, Caitlin and Adam. I actually didn't hear the thunderstorm at all, but it's interesting to hear about. Let's take a look here at a map of the United States of America. We're going to look over here at the West Coast. It's going to be mid-70s all day. That's really, really nice weather. Now we're going to shift our focus over here to the East Coast, where the weather is going to be very, very hot. 82 degrees in New York and 80 in Atlanta with 96 in Dallas. Now, we've recently been having an issue with hurricanes in the United States. This image right here is an image of the wind speeds of Hurricane Jose running through the coast of the United States. Now, we're going to look at a picture here, and this is a picture courtesy of the Manhattan Fire Department's Facebook page. As we talked about earlier in the show, their brave souls went down to Houston to help those in need at Harvey. Now let's take a look here at a map of the Kansas, Sunflower State. The western side of Kansas is going to be very, very hot. And we're going to take a look over here at the eastern side where it will cool down a little bit, but where we are at, it'll be about 94 degrees. Now let's get a look at your 5-day forecast here. High weather, 92 degrees, 93 degrees, 82, and 86. The lows on Sunday will be 63. Now I'm going to kick it back to Caitlin and Adam to finish the show.
Thank you, Brady.
And stay tuned, because when we come back, we're going to take a look at which of our athletes made Players of the Week honors.
And results from the latest Kansas State football game.
Also, we'll hear from head coach Bill Snyder on what he hopes to see from his players in the Vanderbilt matchup.
Sandoval goes on the slide and finishes up the right line. Zumach, one blocker, and she puts a facial on Blusick. Rejected by the Cats.
We are a family that does not tolerate discrimination of any kind.
A family that believes diversity, inclusion, and sportsmanship are expectations.
A family that is supportive and seeks to promote a positive environment.
A family that treats all people with respect and dignity.
No matter their color, creed, gender, ethnicity, or sexual orientation.
We are an empowered family.
Who empowers family.
Welcome to K-State. This is who we are.
Ball in straight away. Bam! Underneath the goal to Beasley for the jam. Down goes number one. Puts up the lob to Dean Wade. That is indeed how you break the press. Turns it over to Magruder. Counts all the way with a runner. Yes, at the buzzer. Xavier Schneed from Aggieville.
Welcome back to Channel 8 News. Adam, really looking forward to this K-State game this weekend.
It's going to be a crazy matchup. Be sure and watch.
All right, we'll send it over to Jack Bresser for more.
Thanks, Caitlin. It's the start of a new season, and fall sports have hit the ground running. The Kansas State women's soccer team hosted 2 matches this past weekend where they went 1-1, leaving them with a 3-win, 3-loss, and 1-tie record so far this season. However, the season is a bit different from the last. Channel 8 News reporter Emily Starkey has more.
For the Kansas State women's soccer team, everything this past season has been a first. They were the first team to step onto the first field in the first soccer complex ever to be built on Kansas State property. The team won the program's very first match, 6-0, against the Oakland Grizzlies that year. In those 6 points in the first win, Morgan Mock, junior midfielder, scored her first goal as a Wildcat. But writing history isn't over for this team.
Although this is the team's second season at K-State, it's their first season kicking it in the Big 12. They hope to build on the foundation that they laid in the 2016 season.
Yeah, so last year, a lot of our returners, or all of our returners, laid the foundation for our program and grinded it out, and we were successful for our inaugural season, and now we're trying to build on it. We have a lot of newcomers that are helping us impact the game, and the combination of our returners and newcomers are leaps and bounds, and we're miles ahead. However, we understand that the Big 12 is going to be a major challenge, but we're not looking past every game. We're looking one game at a time, one training session at a time. Can we get better each day? And can we beat yesterday? That's the motto right now, and that's what we're doing.
We're honored to be in it. We're super excited to get the opportunity. We're going to improve on our games that we're playing now, like before we get into it. But I think we're overall super excited to be in the Big 12 and we're ready to play. In Manhattan, I'm Emily Starkey, Channel 8 News.
The team will play its first Big 12 game against Texas Tech on September 17th. Also, as another first for the team, Brooklyn Ince was named Big 12 Freshman of the Week. She's the first player in school history to score 2 goals in one match. The team will face Colorado State here at home on Sunday at 1 p.m. Tickets are $5 at the new soccer field located next to Toynton Family Stadium. Last weekend, your K-State Wildcats faced the Charlotte 49ers, taking the win for the weekend. K-State got off to a quick start, scoring the first 2 touchdowns of the game. Then the defense got in on the scoring with a 30-yard pick six by Kendall Adams. Jesse Ertz honed in on sophomore Isaiah Zuber, who led the team in catches and yards. Saturday, your K-State Wildcats will be taking on Vanderbilt in their last non-conference game before the Big 12 season begins. Coach Snyder said his team had to start prepping for Vanderbilt right away.
You know, I told them today is too late to get started. I mean, they've got, I know they want to enjoy the what's left of the weekend and all, but you know, we've got to get started, you know, right away, right now on Vanderbilt film. And
that's all we have for sports this week. Back to you, Caitlin and Adam.
Thanks, Jack. Stick with us. We will have more news and final weather after the break.
Right around Burris, she scored. Martin sees an open lane, it's on the way to the basket. Chambers hits the 3. What an impressive play by Kalila Middlebrooks. Big Lou says get out.
When I hear the phrase giving back,
it means an opportunity for me to do something for others.
Volunteering exposes you to different ways of life and different people around the world.
They teach you just as much as you teach them.
It allows you to understand the social issues that we face. The only people who can resolve those social issues is us, and that's starting with our community.
I think for me it means just really embodying what it means to be a part of that K-State family.
K-State athletics team with Courts for Kids, and we went to Costa Rica, a town called Leona Veja.
We went to Dallas to volunteer at Aid Services of Dallas.
I believe everybody should have education, and that's why I volunteer at a high school.
It's a family atmosphere, and we're here to take care of each other, and I think that K-State Proud and other things that students do really embody that family atmosphere that we've been taught since we got here.
What motivates Wildcats to give back?
Empathy.
Kindness.
You.
Welcome back to Channel 8 News. Brady, can you give us a quick recap on our weather?
I think the weather's going to be really nice this weekend, and I really encourage going to Bosco Plaza Friday for the concert.
All right, awesome. That's going to do it for Channel 8 News this week.
We'll see you here at the same time next week. Have a great weekend.
This is Channel 8 News.